Welcome to Movie Q, where we're going to talk about good movies, bad movies, queer movies, and everything in between. I'm Katherine Stevens.
And I'm Charlie Owens.
And we're part of the Q Fest committee, and we're in the middle of picking movies for this year's Q Fest, which is an LGBTQ film festival held at Proctor's in February, March-ish. Changes every year.
Yeah, around that time.
Around-ish.
Late winter, early spring.
Yes.
But right now we are currently watching all the films that have been submitted so far.
Yes.
We're still taking submissions, especially from local filmmakers. We're really excited about what we've seen so far.
Yeah. There are some I'm not so excited about, however.
Yeah.
One of them was one we found on Netflix that you found.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Oh, yes. There's this film called Struck by Lightning, which was written by Chris Colfer, and he also stars in it as the main character.
And this is Kurt in Glee, right?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
He is that fashionable homosexual in Glee. And I guess he wrote a novel that he adapted into this film. It's his first time screenwriting, and I hated it.
You hate it? You know, I hated it too.
Welcome to Career Day here at the Counseling Center.
I want to be the editor of The New Yorker and the youngest freelance journalist to be published in The New York Times, LA Times, and the Chicago Tribune.
I wasn't going to watch it because I remember reading about it a couple of months ago, maybe even a year at this point, about how this book blew everybody's mind and they were like, this kid's amazing.
Right.
And then they were like, we're going to make it a movie, and it's filled with all these famous people.
Right, Rebel Wilson.
Yes, Rebel Wilson's great. Allison Janney is really good.
Your dad tells me you're quite popular at school.
Just don't be too hard on yourself.
Personal space, man.
Okay.
Operation Clovergate's in effect.
Christine Hendricks.
Yep.
And she's pregnant, so her boobs are even bigger.
Yeah, but ow.
Yeah. So, it's Dermot Mulroney. I always screw up Dylan
It's not
McDermott.
Dylan McDermott.
It's Dermot Mulroney. But yeah, so all these really great character actors are in this movie. Right. So what didn't you like about it?
Well, for one thing, I didn't like that the adult characters were portrayed in a really negative way. I understood where it was coming from because it seemed like everything the adult characters did was targeted at the teenagers, like the parents, and like there's a guidance counselor who is Angela from The Office.
Yes.
What is that actress' name? Do you know?
I have no. I don't. I know. I think it's Angela Kinsey.
Oh yes, it is.
Yeah.
So she plays the guidance counselor who like neglects to check in on this kid's college submission and ends up getting him unaccepted after he had been accepted because he didn't respond.
Right.
And like all these other things that seem unrealistic or just antagonistic to the high school students, and unfair.
Yeah. What I disliked about it mostly was whose story is he trying to tell. So here's this actor who's known for being out and gay.
Right.
For a very long time, at a young age in Hollywood. Boom, he's out, he's gay. And he writes an asexual character who finds two gay students in a bathroom.
Right.
Making out and talking. I don't know. They're fully clothed.
Standing face to face.
Yeah.
One of them has painted toenails. He's the real gay one.
He's the drama king.
Right.
So he's already a stereotype of what it means to be gay in high school.
Right.
And he catches them in the bathroom and he's like, I'm going to blackmail you guys so you write for my newspaper. So here's this gay teen who struggled with that for years, and he's using it in his story to blackmail, to shame these characters.
Exactly.
I mean, at the same time, he uses heterosexuality to shame a cheerleader and the football coach who have sex or fool around, whatever.
You were on ADD medication as a kid?
I thought I was just really calm and mature for my age.
I hid it in your food.
I've been the president of the Writers Club, the editor of the newspaper, just to better my chances of getting into that school. Vicky, you have your weather report ready.
Yeah, it's cloudy.
It's been challenging.
I mean, for him to be an asexual character wasn't a big deal for me. I mean, I think it's always good for gay actors to try and expand their horizons, not stay pigeonholed.
Absolutely.
But I thought it was odd that it came up in the story that being gay was a negative thing, and his character seemed to be the one who was enforcing that.
Yeah. I feel like he has a responsibility. He lives in his normal life, like he has a responsibility to make life better for other gay teens.
Right.
You know, but it's interesting at the same time where you have other older Hollywood actors who refuse to come out.
Right.
It's been speculated for God knows how long that Kevin Spacey's gay. And then Sean Hayes. Is he gay? Is he not gay? Clearly Sean Hayes was gay. But for some reason, people wanted him to come out and say it.
Yeah.
And I find that really interesting in filmmaking. And then at the same time, Neil Patrick Harris
Is just out and fabulous.
out and fabulous and plays the straightest
Macho,
guy.
bro-y.
Yeah, in How I Met Your Mother.
Yeah.
And it's just always fascinating to me how people treat homosexuality, heterosexuality, in their personal life versus in their screen life.
Right.
You know, other character actors use homosexuality as a jumping start for an Oscar. Like Sean Penn with Milk.
Right.
You know.
Right. And I don't know that was intentional, that he was like gunning for it.
I don't know. I think he's gunning for it.
Did you think so?
I think
like,
so.
you know how like some actresses ugly themselves up?
Charlize Theron, absolutely.
Male actors have to gay themselves up now.
I did write a short story.
Fantastic. Let's hear it.
It was the best of times. It was the worst of times.
You didn't write that.
It's in my handwriting.
I mean, that's the thing is playing a sexuality versus playing a character is very tricky because there are a lot of things that actors can't overcome, whether they're straight or whether they're gay, when they're taking a character on.
Do you think that's a mark of a bad actor, though? If they can't sort of check themselves at the door and become this character?
I don't know if it's a bad actor, because I definitely think there's like some actors who play a type, and that's all the type they'll ever play.
Like Sean Hayes.
Right.
Yeah.
Sean Hayes. But that doesn't make them a bad actor. I think they just have to be aware of that.
Going into it.
Yeah.
So, Struck by Lightning.
No.
No, our rating, we're going to have a new rating system.
Okay.
The 5-finger salute is absolutely amazing, wonderful movie. And then a 1-finger salute, terrible. So what are you going to say?
I'm going to give it 1.5.
1.5. I'm going to give it 2.
Oh, that's generous.
I'm going to give it an A for effort. And I'm going to leave it at that.
Okay.
Because he was also despicable. I love rooting for bad guys sometimes,
Right.
you know, depending on how bad.
Right.
He was just nasty.
Well, he was very cynical and driven to a point. He wanted to be an editor for the New Yorker or New York Post. I don't remember which. He wanted to be the first young editor for a major publication, and he was very driven to do that. But he used everyone. It was not
2 fingers,
likable.
1.5. So an average, what's that? At 1.75.
1.75.
1.75 fingers. All right.
Cut off the tip.
And in this portion of the Movie Queue, we're joined by Jay Walker, the graphic designer at Proctor's. And today she's going to talk about what got her interested in graphic design, and we're going to talk about movie posters that she found inspirational and I find inspirational, and what her favorite movie is. Thank you so much for coming, Jay.
You're very welcome. Thank you for inviting me.
So what got you into graphic design?
Well, when I was younger, I remember getting really excited about projects at school. Not because I was like really excited about the topic, but because I got to make posters.
Okay.
Often you would like finish a big project with a paper and you'd have like a poster to present your ideas and things like that, and that was my favorite part. I even have a poster. My mom actually still has this poster that I made in like 10th grade history class about artists. I think we were like focusing on a certain time.
Okay.
And I made this poster about Vincent van Gogh, and I like painstakingly drew his signature at the top of the poster and arranged all of the information, and I love that stuff.
Oh, wow.
And I remember thinking, gosh, I really wish I could get money for this. I wish I could get paid for this someday. Thinking, you know, it would never happen. And that's actually what I do. I really enjoy taking different pieces of information and images and things like that, and making them legible and making them easily readable and look great.
Well, I think
So that's
you
what I do.
do exactly that.
Thanks.
You know, your mom can actually turn that poster into wallpaper. There's like a company where they take your kids' art projects and you can immortalize it forever.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So your mom should do that with that poster.
That's very cool.
And just paper your old room with it.
Yeah.
Well, anywho.
Yeah, right. She still has it hanging up like next to her bed at my old house. It's adorable.
That's awesome. So, okay. So you liked creating stuff without any inspiration. You just made it all out of your head. So after a while, when you started to realize this is what you wanted to do, who did you start to draw your inspiration from? Like, who were you like, oh, I love his style or her style?
When I first started designing, of course, when you start learning how to do anything, you have to learn about its history first, right? So design history is full of a lot of great people that started making things before the days of Photoshop and before cameras were a big thing, people that had to do everything by hand. Often screen printed posters and things like that were things that I drew inspiration from. Particularly people like Saul Bass, who is very famous for making film posters as well as film credits and things like that. He drew a lot of things, and he used very simple imagery and typography that he made himself, and made the most amazing and like historic posters.
So
ever.
He designed The Man with the Golden Arm, Vertigo,
Yep.
all of those.
North by Northwest and stuff like that. All of that stuff.
Yeah.
It's very cool.
I
Very
like
good
how
guy.
it's so simple, and yet it tells you this whole story with so little information.
Yep.
And sometimes it doesn't have faces in it. Like The Man with the Golden Arm, for example, only has an arm surrounded by blocks.
Yep.
So, and I actually have not seen a lot of the movies he designed posters for. I'm ashamed to say that. But I would decorate my walls with his posters in a second.
Yeah.
It's just amazing work.
He's really amazing. And I think that the thing that he does the best out of a lot of the older designers is conveying a very simple message with just the littlest thing. You only need to see that hand, or you only need to see the way that he manipulates his images and uses them. It's masterful. And he makes it look so easy.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Awesome. So there was him, and we also have some non-movie posters that you found inspiring.
Yeah. So moving forward in time, there are people like Paula Scher, who is an inspiration for me because one of her earlier jobs that made her famous is working at the Public Theater in New York City, and her posters really utilize mostly type and like simple cutout, like silhouetted images. And she just goes crazy. She conveys the excitement and the energy that happens on stage at the theater through the typography that she uses and the way that she arranges it in her posters. Like the Bring the Noise, Bring in the Funk poster that she did is mostly typographic. And it really, like I said, it really conveys that energy, that the business that's going on for the show. I think it's fantastic. So the stuff that she's done, that was in like 1995, and moving even further forward, people like Stefan Sagmeister is another example of people that use. He focuses a lot on photography, and he doesn't. These types of people, they don't rely on doing that crazy stuff, like having the layered PSD effect, the layered Photoshop image, where there's like a lens flare and there's a reflection, and
like the J.J. Abrams of poster making.
Yeah, exactly. It's not like that. You don't have to put all of this extra stuff in there just to make it look really techy and legit. It just needs like that spin that only a great designer can create.
So you've designed a lot of work since you've been here. And one of them is a Little Shop of Horrors poster.
Yep.
Okay. So so it's a movie that everybody knows. It's not like it's from scratch.
Right.
So how did you approach designing that?
So I wanted to start with something, I wanted it to be kind of scary. I wanted there to be this element of like mystery and something in the poster. Mystery and something.
Mystery and murder.
Mystery and murder. So, I wanted there to be an element of mystery in the poster, because everybody knows what happens in the movie. So I kind of wanted to sort of not have it front and center, but have it looming in the background, which is what I did with the illustration of the plant in that poster. It's sort of like, cutting off the page, sort of cropped and like hanging out there, being creepy looking, but
it's really it is really suggestive and creepy. You know,
Yeah,
it's just
but
it's
not
a
being
man-eating
just
plant.
like the big plant all up in your face.
That's what a lot of people do for that movie. You know, if they were to design
Yeah.
the posters, it's all about Audrey 2 and
Yeah.
blood and guts. And
Right, exactly.
I mean, it's great. But
So yeah, and it's sort of like as if it were a photograph, even though it's just an illustration from like Seymour's little plant shop and everything.
Mm-hmm.
I suppose it wasn't his plant shop, was it? It was
Mr. Krellborn.
Krellborn?
Krellborn?
No, Seymour
he's
Krellborn.
Seymour Krellborn. Whatever.
He's Mudnick?
Mudnick? Munchkin?
Spudnick?
Mushy?
I don't remember.
I've seen this movie many times.
Me too.
And been in the play. And I don't know. I pay attention.
Anyways, so it was a lot of fun to illustrate, and I think it turned out pretty good.
Oh, I agree. I think it's a great poster.
Thanks.
Yeah. I mean, I'm really excited about going. I think you should go too.
I'll be there.
Okay. So, are there other things that you like do you just create for fun outside of work? Or do you pretty much, since you do it all day, you're like tapped out?
I like to design logos.
Okay.
I
So
like to
people
kind of
approach
make up sometimes.
Okay.
And especially for like business cards and things like that, like personal monograms and things like that. They're like my favorite thing to do, and they're really, really simple. Mm-hmm. There are like certain laws that you have to abide by when it comes to things like logos, because they need to be able to be resized.
Sure.
You know, they have to be legible at like these tiny, tiny little sizes and stuff like that. And it's a nice little challenge, and it's very personal.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So, I know I asked you beforehand about if you had a favorite movie.
Yes.
And you initially said, oh, it's impossible.
It's like saying, you know, what's your favorite poster? What's your
favorite kid?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Yes.
Who has a favorite kid? My dad. It's not me.
Oh. But yeah, I think there are lots and lots of movies that I love, but probably like the one movie that I would always love forever, for always, is Young Frankenstein. I'm a big Mel Brooks fan.
Yeah.
So
that makes a lot of us.
I could like quote that whole movie to you.
What's
Gene Wilder
that?
is
Frau
so amazing.
Blücher?
Yes.
Yeah.
With the horses and yeah, it's amazing.
That's awesome.
Hilarious.
So I do have one contemporary movie poster that I wanted to bring up.
Okay.
Because I'm a big Ryan Gosling fan, but I also, his movie Drive that came out a couple of years ago,
Mm-hmm.
it's interesting. It's an interesting movie. I think everybody should go see it if they haven't seen it.
Mm-hmm.
But can we break down this poster?
Absolutely.
Okay, so it's him looking behind, like in the rearview mirror,
Mm-hmm.
and there's this hot pink font in the corner that says Drive.
Yes.
So as a designer, what do you like about it?
It's sort of doing a very similar thing. Honestly, it's kind of using the same concept that I was using in my Little Shop of Horrors poster. It's like, it's inviting that sort of mystery in there. As you see the direction that his eyes are looking in, you know that he's looking in the rearview mirror, you know that it's like tension mounting, and it makes you excited to see the film, right?
Yeah.
Because, you know, not everyone, like Little Shop of Horrors, everyone has seen that, so when they're gonna go to the sing-along, they'll know what's happening. But when this first came out, it was still new.
Yeah.
Still surprising. The hot pink, honestly, I think that the placement of the title has a lot to do with the direction of the photograph. There's a very like sort of diagonal.
Yeah, it's really angular. It's like, yeah.
And it's kind of dynamic in that way. So it kind of moves this way through the poster diagonally.
Yeah.
So there's
It
Drive,
draws.
and then the top corner you sort of go through where his hand is placed and his gaze, and up into that top right corner. It's a very directional. Sounds kind of nerdy, but
No, it's totally.
That's,
I get that. Yeah.
it makes more sense for it to be sitting there and catching your eye as you move down in that direction than for it to be in the center.
Sure. And it doesn't hurt that it's Ryan Gosling.
Yes.
Ryan Gosling. But it's, you know, like the designer that you like earlier, Saul
Bass.
he designed a poster for famous people, and he didn't include those people in there. So it's interesting,
Yeah.
you know, when you decide to use the name and the face versus just the name. So
Yeah. I guess, well, I mean, both of them, his name and his face are kind of on the poster. But I think that image, creating that tension and that excitement was necessary. Whoever was in it, it was necessary to be like, this is going to be awesome.
And it was awesome.
Yes.
As were you. You were awesome. Thank you so much for being our guest today.
Thank you.
On our first episode, actually.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So thanks, Jay.
You're very welcome. Thank you.
This is a portion of Movie Q that we like to call the Reel of Destiny. And our very first spinner is our very own Charlie Owens.
Hi.
Charlie, you're going to spin the Reel of Destiny.
Okay.
And whatever color it lands on, I have a challenge for you.
Oh God.
Okay?
Oh God. I hope
All
it's
right.
not. I hope it's not Twister.
May your destiny be true.
Spin that again.
Again. Green. Okay, we're gonna
Green
do
it
green.
is.
Okay, you have to put these pictures of Bruce Willis in chronological
Oh,
order.
awesome. I can just do this based on hairline, probably.
Perhaps.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. Oh, well, there. We're bald here, so.
I'll hold it.
Okay.
So you're gonna go with D
Wait,
as the most recent.
Yeah.
Okay.
D.
D is the most recent.
Then B.
B
Would
is
you-
the second most recent.
Yep. We're going back. We're going backwards in time.
Okay.
Oh God. A.
A.
E. C.
E.
Look at him. He looks so dapper there.
I know, he's just such like a roguish imp. Okay.
That's what I've often said about him.
As we have all. Okay, actually it does. C is the oldest picture.
Yay!
You got that correct.
Woo!
The next oldest is in fact E. This is from Die Hard.
Yes. I didn't know which one.
The best Christmas movie ever. And then we have actually B is next. This is from Pulp Fiction. This is from The Whole 9 Yards, which was 2000.
Oh, I ruined
Oh,
it.
Charlie. But this is the most recent, in fact, it's from Red.
Oh, Grandpa.
Oh, but a sexy grandpa.
Sexy Grandpa.
Well, Charlie, thank you for playing the Reel of Destiny.
Absolutely. It was a hoot.
And thank you for coming to Movie Q, where next time we're going to talk about film festivals and other gay stuff. Thanks.
Woo!
Yay!
We have fun.
We do.